Welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a story for you that is more than just a tale. It's a chilling mystery wrapped in history and horror. You've probably heard the saying, "What you see does not end. What you don't see is what's around you." This story perfectly embodies that saying, so sit back, listen carefully, and prepare to be both scared and intrigued. This story takes us to a corner of our country often referred to as heaven on earth, Kashmir. But as we all know, heaven has its own dark secrets. Many of us have heard about the violence and bloodshed that have plagued Kashmir. But today's story is beyond the ordinary. It's about a terrifying incident involving a man named Yusuf. In 2010, Yusuf, a 40-year-old man living in New York, decided to visit India to see his parents after many years. His parents had sent him abroad 20 years ago because of their dire financial situation. Yusuf, excited to reunite with his family, quickly booked a ticket and landed in New Delhi before heading straight to Kashmir. As Yusuf's car approached his old neighborhood, memories from his childhood flooded back. He noticed that many things had remained the same: the shops, the houses, even the shopkeeper's son who now ran the family business. His excitement grew as his car finally stopped in front of his house. However, his joy was short-lived. When Yusuf knocked on the door, no one answered. As he waited, he noticed people gathering around, staring at him. He felt uncomfortable and decided to come back later. Just as he turned to leave, the door creaked open by itself. Assuming it was the wind, Yusuf grabbed his bags and entered the house, calling out for his mother. To his relief, his mother's voice responded from the first floor. Yusuf rushed upstairs to find both his parents looking very ill, but alive. Despite their condition, they embraced him warmly. That night, Yusuf felt a mix of happiness and sorrow. Little did he know, his first night back home would be terrifying. Around midnight, Yusuf went downstairs to fetch some water. As he filled his bottle, he noticed something odd. There were handprints on the windows, as if someone had been pressing their hands against the glass from outside. Startled, he dropped the bottle and rushed back upstairs, deciding to tell his parents in the morning. The next day, Yusuf shared his eerie experience with his mother. She dismissed it, saying it was probably the mentally unstable neighbor who had lost his wife and often wandered around aimlessly. Relieved that it wasn't something supernatural, Yusuf went about his day. That evening, Yusuf received an invitation to a party from an old friend named Danish. Excited to reconnect with his friends, Yusuf told his parents about his plans. His father, however, warned him to return home before midnight, as it was unsafe to be out late. Yusuf laughed off the warning, thinking his father was being overly cautious. At the party, Yusuf enjoyed catching up with his friends. However, as the night wore on, he realized it was past midnight. Remembering his father's warning, he decided to leave. As he prepared to go, Danish pulled him aside and told him a chilling story about the Kettle Bridge, a place Yusuf would have to cross on his way home. Danish explained that in 1990, a tragic incident had occurred on that bridge, where 50 people were killed in one night. It was said that their spirits still haunted the bridge, appearing to those who crossed it at night. Yusuf, skeptical of ghost stories, laughed it off and assured Danish he'd be fine. As Yusuf drove home, he couldn't shake Danish's story from his mind. When he reached the Kettle Bridge, he saw a little girl crying by the roadside. Despite his fear, Yusuf's compassion made him stop the car. He approached the girl, who said she couldn't find her parents. Yusuf looked around and saw two bodies floating in the nearby pond. Horrified, Yusuf realized there were more bodies in the water, about 40 to 50. Panicking, he rushed back to his car and drove home as fast as he could. When he arrived, he found the door locked. Desperate, he banged on the door until a neighbor approached, questioning why he was making such a commotion. Yusuf explained his encounter, but the neighbor revealed a shocking truth. Yusuf's parents had died 20 years ago in a protest that resulted in many deaths. The house had been abandoned ever since. The neighbor's words echoed in Yusuf's mind as he struggled to comprehend the reality. Devastated, Yusuf returned to New York, unable to bear the pain of losing his parents twice. Even today, the Kettle Bridge remains a place of fear and mystery. It's said that the spirits of those who died in the 1990 massacre still haunt the area, seeking closure for their untimely deaths. Historical context leading up to the 1990 massacre in Kashmir, pre-1947. The roots of conflict. The history of Kashmir's conflict can be traced back to the pre-independence era of India. Before 1947, Kashmir was a princely state under the rule of Maharaja Hari Singh. The region was predominantly Muslim, but the ruler was Hindu, which sowed the seeds of discord. The partition of British India in 1947 into India and Pakistan led to a complex situation in Kashmir, as the Maharaja faced pressure to join either of the newly formed nations. 1947 to 1948, the First Indo-Pak War. In October 1947, Maharaja Hari Singh signed the Instrument of Accession to India, which led to the First Indo-Pak War. This conflict ended with the establishment of the line of control dividing Kashmir into areas administered by India and Pakistan. The United Nations intervened, calling for a plebiscite to allow the people of Kashmir to decide their future, but this vote never took place. Yusuf's story is a stark reminder of the dark history that haunts Kashmir. The Gau-Kadal Bridge remains a place of terror, where the past refuses to be forgotten. Even today, it is said that the spirits of those who died there still wander, seeking peace they may never find. If you ever find yourself in Kashmir, beware of the bridge and the secrets it holds. This tale is not just about ghosts. It's a reflection of the pain and suffering that continues to plague this beautiful region. It reminds us that history leaves scars, and sometimes those scars never heal. As we listen to these stories, let's hope for a future where Kashmir can truly be the paradise it's meant to be. The story of Yusuf and his village is a poignant chapter in the history of Kashmir, reflecting the broader conflict and the human spirit's capacity for endurance. The 1990s, the decade of turmoil. The 1990s marked the most tumultuous period in Kashmir's recent history. The rigged 1987 elections were a turning point, leading to widespread disenchantment and fueling the insurgency. Several militant groups, backed by Pakistan, intensified their activities in the region. The Indian government responded with heavy-handed measures, deploying a significant military presence in the valley. Human rights abuses by both militants and security forces led to a cycle of violence and retribution. The atmosphere in Kashmir during this period was one of fear, suspicion, and relentless conflict. The 1990 Gau-Kadal Massacre. On January 21, 1990, the Gau-Kadal Massacre occurred in Srinagar, the summer capital of Jammu and Kashmir. This incident was one of the deadliest in the region's history. It began with a protest against the Indian government's heavy-handed measures and the recent appointment of Jagmohan as the governor of Jammu and Kashmir. Thousands of unarmed protesters gathered at Gau-Kadal Bridge. Security forces, under orders to control the situation, opened fire on the crowd, resulting in the deaths of over 50 people and injuring many more. This massacre further inflamed the already volatile situation, leading to increased insurgency and retaliatory actions by the security forces. The story of Yusuf and his village is a poignant chapter in the history of Kashmir, reflecting the broader conflict and the human spirit's capacity for endurance. It is a testament to the countless lives affected by the turmoil and a reminder of the enduring hope for peace in the valley. So, if you ever find yourself in a place with a dark history, remember this story. Sometimes, what you don't see is far more terrifying than what you do. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more horror, mystery, and historical videos.